Hello, I'm Sami Laakso from Snowdale Design, and I welcome you to this last stream from us for AwSHUX 2020. And this is the third stream of the online convention. And again, we are going to teach and demo the Lands of Galzyr game, and hopefully Kenji doesn't make too much of a mess of it, like the ending last time. But in short, Lands of Galzyr is an adventuring board game where you roam around and do all kinds of cool things in an open world, an open and persistent world, I would say, where you can influence the world and its inhabitants, and it will and leave your mark in a way that the world will surely remember what you did and will act accordingly as if it were a living thing by itself. And I hope we can give you some examples on how the game exactly does that in today's demo. And after a short rules explanation, we will start playing together, and you can join me as we make decisions on how we form our destiny in Lands of Galzyr. Here we have on the right we have the game board, which Genzi already made a little bit of mess. So here we can see the Lands of Galzyr, where we can take our adventures in, and it consists of these locations that are created by these cards, which are placed on the game board, and of the stuff printed on itself. Or let's fix that as well. So in short, the game is for 1 to 4 players. Each player will control their own adventure. So we have Ausala, the river kingfisher, Bumir, the marble polecat, Keridai, the northern banded newt, and finally, last but not least, Mor, the freed lizard. And we have streamed already 3 times in total, and we have played with all the different adventures, but not Ausala yet. So she's the one that we are going to take control in this stream. And to begin the rules explanation, we'll start with the setup, and with that we have to the game comes with the over 400 cards, which are organized in this library, what we call it, and it has cards numbered in the front, and then at the back it has save slots. It has different save slots for each of the adventures. So we have already taken all the cards that were behind this our own save slot, and they are over here. And then there's also save slots for all the other players and the game itself. So this is what we call a global save slot, and it has all the cards that are already on the game board, and these what we call global status cards on the next of the game board. And just a second, I will shut one of those lights so it doesn't reflect quite as badly. And that should help with the reflections quite well. Looks way better, so you can actually see what the card has on it. All right, so we took the cards from our own save slot over here, and all the cards that would have been behind this global save slot, those include the location cards that are on the game board. They might get swapped out during our game, and then we would simply save them back here, and the world would continue from this state that we left it in the last game. Then we have these global status cards, which we should have 2 of one additional similar to this, and depending on if we are playing cooperatively or competitively, we use one of those cards. But in this game we are playing a solo game, and of course you can only play cooperatively in that case. Then we have a month card, which shows which month we are playing. So currently in our example, it's the month of June, which instructs us to use the summer side of both the game board and location cards. So the game board will be double-sided. One side, the already visible here, will have a summer side, and the other side will be a winter side, respectively, just like the location cards here. Goes without saying, but everything you see here is in a prototype form, so most of the artwork is not quite finished yet. And for example, the location cards, it's quite empty in here right now, and the backside is just a placeholder from a different game. But so we have all set up those, and then you will need to use a device with a modern web browser to access the storybook. So the game comes with a digital storybook that you can use any device with a modern web browser to use, and you can use it without internet access after first either downloading it or accessing a website. So here you can see that I am using an iPad and I have installed here, and I can use it without an online connection. You can also even use multiple devices during the same game if you want. It doesn't have any fancy AI in it. It's just a digital storybook, and we did it in with two main reasons. One being it's more affordable for you to purchase the game when it doesn't come with 500 to 1000 page storybook, which weighs a ton and thus is extremely expensive to ship. And the other important reason was that this way the storybook will only show you the stuff that you're supposed to see at any given moment, which reduces any spoilers that you might otherwise see with a physical storybook like this. So when you open the storybook, it will ask you which month you are playing, and in this example, as I already showed you, we're playing June, and we will simply select that one, and then it will randomize the starting day for us. So the storybook now says that it's Saturday, so then we can move our day token to the correct day. And then if we are playing with cooperatively, we'll have this Stronger Together card on the table, and it has what we call a timed effect. They are these blue boxes with a clock on the right side, and usually the clock has a number on it, but in this example it has an X, and the X varies a bit depending on player count. So in this example we are playing a solo game, so its number is 14. Whenever we see such a timed effect, we'll take two matching timer tokens from here. It doesn't matter which they are, just have to be two of the same. So I'll find another penguin. Here we go. For the first one will count the number of days equal to the number on the timed effect itself and place the token on the calendar as many spaces into the future, and the other one we use to cover up the number on the card. That way we know that whenever the day token comes and reaches any of the timer tokens, we know which one to resolve at any given time. And this examples in this Stronger Together card, it shows that we must take a scene number 200 from the storybook, and we already know that this will end the game based on the rule book. So we have 14 days time in a solo game. And the objective of the game, no matter if you're playing cooperatively or competitively, is to gather as much prestige as you can. If you're playing against each other, it's everyone for themselves, and the player who gathers the most prestige wins the game. In that case, there's no turn limit, so depending on the player count, you play up to a number of prestige, depending on the players. So if you're playing with 4 players, you're playing up to 8 prestige up to 10 with 3, and finally up to 12 prestige if you're playing a 2-player game. And after that you finish the round and the person who has the most wins. Playing cooperatively, you simply play the number of rounds specified here on the card, and then you total up your prestige and grade yourself in this scene number 200. We will get many examples of those scenes from the storybook as we soon start the game. So that's pretty much the stuff on the game board. Then there are two different types of cards, still more in the global save slot. One is the event cards, and we simply take all of them, shuffle them together, and use them to form the event deck. We'll learn more about those soon. And finally, we have quest cards, and they are different from other cards in the game in a way that their front and back are both unique for each quest. Unlike, for example, the quest cards all have, not the quest, but the event cards all have the same back. All the global status cards have a same back. Of course, this is prototype, so they're quite ugly, but you get the idea. But for quests, they have unique backs and fronts, so you should shuffle all of them together. Should be 10 or more of these, and without looking at their backs. And then after doing so, you'll use the deck to form the what we call a notice board. And you'll do that by drawing 2 cards from the quest deck, so you're left with 2 cards plus the quest deck itself. Now it's just a single card, but you can imagine multiple cards here. And the top card of the quest deck and these 2 here, they form what we call the notice board. These are the quests that the folks in the world are asking for adventurers like us to help them different kinds of problems. And on the top they state where you can pick those quests up. Then just a few things about our adventure board before we can already start going. So we have our name, our icon, which is referred sometimes to 2 tags. I should show it here bigger for you. And our number of gold that we have on our possession, and our what we call skill marks. They are used to resolve skill checks during our story phase from the storybook. We'll get to those once we actually start resolving some skill checks. And finally, we have an effect here, which is something that we have to do when the game is over, when we what we call save the game. I'll explain that after we are done with demoing. We have some skill dice that we use to perform those skill checks, our cards that were in our own save slot, and finally our adventure figure, which will be wooden custom figures with custom printing. These are prototype, but they looks quite the same as the final win will look. So we randomize our starting player, and then in turn order, everyone picks a location where they will start the game from. So in this our example, I think we are going to start with Rienstum, and I will lay the piece down so you can see it better on the camera. On our initial save slot, each adventurer has their own number 0 card, which is their special ability. AwSHUX is called Soar in the Sky, and it lets, by discarding this card, meaning that we return it to the library, we get +4 movement. Usually it's up to 2, so we can move up to 6. And if we do so, we must return any companions without flight tag back to the library. Also, if we are wary or restricted, we cannot use this effect. Makes sense. So each adventurer has their own special ability that they can use once per game. And then we have our initial quest, card number 111, and each adventurer has their own starting quest. But yesterday we played with Moore, the Freed Lizard, and we actually did play his first part of his initial quest, and I think we're going to save this so you can cover it by yourself later. So we'll just going to put it back on AwSHUX save slot. We're going to play these more generic quests in this demo, or few of these. And usually you have some items in your save slot as well, and I can cheat a little bit and give us just a few that we might have in our possession. Let's take for example that one and this one. All right. So we have, each adventurer has 3 slots in their inventory where you can keep your items, your possessions, and various items of course have their name here on top, their value usually used when you purchase them or sell them away, some store text, tags, and then they have the main thing about the item cards are these abilities on them. They have always this brown box with a verb on it, and then some effects. And whenever you take an action with this verb from the storybook, you can use the effect in the box. We'll learn even about those more once we start doing some skill checks. But you should know that we have now soft suit boots on our possession and lockpicks. Lockpicks help us whenever we unlock stuff, and the soft-soled shoes help us in convincing and sneaking. So we are quite stealthy already with AwSHUX. Alright, so that should be pretty much everything that we need to know before we can actually go ahead and start playing. So each turn is divided into 2 parts. So the first is called Travel, and in that we simply move up to 2 spaces on the game board. So 0, 1 or 2. All these locations, which consist of multiple cards, are treated as a single space. So right now if we are in Rienstum, we could move, like for example 1, 2 over this spot over here. Or if we were, let's say here, we could move 1 and 2 over here, because Rienstum is again counted as a single space. Just like Sarivar and Hesembi are both counted as single space as well. So that's everything you need to know about the travel phase. You just simply move up to 2 spaces. And let's say that we don't want to move on our first turn because we want to stay at Rienstum. And after that, it's the time for the story phase. And in that, we must take a single scene. And scenes are these red bubbles with a book next to them. So if you're at a location, we can take any scene from the location. So Rienstum, we have Wishing Well, we have docks, then there's arena, market, convention center, and casino. So we could visit any of those. If we had any quest cards that would give us scenes that we could take, that's one way to take a scene. And then there's also, if we are, for example, here in the grasslands, instead of taking a scene from a card that we have or cards from the board, if we can't or don't want to take a scene from those, then the event deck comes in and we will take a scene from the event deck. We'll learn that after the first scene. I think we first want to visit some place in Rienstum. And why not? Let's visit the Wishing Well. That I'm going to pretty much dictate where we're going to go and which places to visit. But once we are in a location, once we start a scene, there's multiple options that we can take, and I hope to get your input from all you viewers on which options you want to take in the storybook. So here we are in the Rienstum, and Wishing Well is number 21. So we simply scroll through the scenes and find the scene we are looking for. It's number 21 in this case. We have always some story, and then we have multiple options that we can take. As you arrive at Rienstum's old wishing well, you are greeted by the sights and sounds typical for a city's poorest district. Swindlers and beggars line up the run-down houses, hollering at the busy folk going about their business in the square. Just about everything, houses, streets, and especially the folks, are covered in dirt. Curiously, folk seem to give the well itself, placed at the center of the square, a white bird, possibly out of respect, or perhaps superstition. A squirrel merchant is peddling her wares with a high pitch, but there's also sounds of commotion coming from the other end of the square draw your attention, their voices steadily rising above the general clamor of the place. And whenever we start the scene, or even during a scene, if you see this, easier to point like this way, if you see these options, these bubbles, feel free to write in the chat on which option you would like to take. So currently we have 3 options. We can either make a wish at the well, which costs us a single coin. We have 10 coins. We can approach the squirrel merchant, or we can finally check what's causing the ruckus. And I'll always wait for a little bit for you to give some suggestions, and if there's no consensus on what we should do or no suggestions at all, then I'll simply have to pick some myself. Currently it's quite silent in chat, so I think I'll just have to make a decision myself. And let's say that Ausla wants to make a wish at the well, in which case we simply rotate our gold spinner one down, so now we are left with 9 gold instead of our initial 10. The well is a rather simple structure, a modest stone platform complete with the most ordinary well, but it is clearly in a far better condition than the surrounding houses. You approach the well and look down, seeing nothing but darkness within. And sometimes the storybook will ask us questions, like here example, and whenever the question is in this turquoise bubble instead of just black text, it's not read aloud, but the story master who's reading the current story, which is usually not the active player, but of course we're playing alone, so we are reading it ourselves. The story master will simply perform or whatever the storybook asks them to do. So in this case we would just silently look here and see if number 147 is available, and yes, it is. We don't look what card it is or what it says, we just simply look at it's in the library. You toss the coin to the depths, watching as it plummets into the darkness. And now we encounter our first skill check, and there are 2 types of skill checks. There are regular ones, which is just a smooth bubble, and then there are these rushed skill checks like this one here. And whenever it's a rushed skill check, it means that we can't use our items, and we also do not get access to these better special skill dice, which usually we use our skill marks to get access to. I will correct myself. We do get access to those, but we do not get to reroll them. Usually we always have a single reroll, but with rushed skill checks, no items and no rerolls. But in this case, and in all other skill checks as well, we first start by taking these 5 regular skill dice. Each of these skill dice has a single icon on each of their sides, matching these 6 skills that there are in the game. And let's go over those quickly right now. So the 6 skills are knowledge, communication, perception, thiever, might, and finally here the yellow one is survival. So depending on which kind of situation we are faced with, we'll use a different skill to tackle that problem. And whenever we do take a skill check, like here we are taking a perception skill check, which is medium difficulty. It means that we are checking for perception, but also these adjacent skills will help us somewhat. I'll explain you why that is. First, we may change any of our dice for these special skill dice that we have access with our skill marks. So in this example, we have 2 perception skill dice. So we'll remove both of those and take the perception skill dice instead. And then we also have this thievery skill mark. So we will change one more for the thievery dice, because on each of these dice there are 2 sides with double successes for the skill that they are best for. So this is perception skill dice, so it has 2 sides with double perception icons. Then there's also 2 sides for the adjacent ones. So this has 2 for the thievery and 2 for communication, as they are the 2 adjacent skills next to perception. So they're twice as good as the regular dice for the adjacent ones, and extremely good with the dice that they are especially designed for. So this is the skill dice pool that we are going to use to try our best at staying alert. And our outcome here is actually 3. 1 from the basic skill die and 2 from the special skill die. So, and we usually, if it were not a rushed skill check, we could reroll everything by first getting rid of a single die. So if we were doing that, we would have to, for example, take this away and reroll all of these. But the reroll is always optional, and with our current situation, we would probably not want to do that, and we also are not allowed to do that because it's a rushed skill check. And the difficulty in the bubble also always dictates how hard, what's the minimum number of successes. Alright, I think we disconnected for just a second, but we are live again. So I will just explain again, just I'm not sure how much it skipped, but I was explaining about the rerolls. So we always have an access to a single reroll, and that would simply means that we have to take a single die out from our dice pool and then reroll everything. It's optional in a regular skill check, but with a rush one we are not allowed to do that. And in this case, even if we were allowed, we probably wouldn't want to do it, because we already got 3 successes, which is quite good outcome with these dice. Then there's the different difficulty ratings. There are easy, medium and hard, and on top of that there's also unknown sometimes. And from those, with easy you always want at least 1 success, with medium at least 2, and final with hard at least 3. With unknown you really don't know. But with this it's a medium skill check, so we would like to get at least 2, more probably even more if possible. Our items can't help us because it's a rust one, so now we are sitting at 3, and after rolling and using our items, if we were allowed to use them, then we open the option and click the appropriate outcome. At the last moment, you grab the clawed hand reaching for your pocket. The thief's round eyes briefly betray his surprise as you catch him red-handed before returning to their sly, only slightly less goofy expression. Ah, you have great reflexes. My job is to check that the well is used only by the most well-off, rich, quick-witted patrons. There are many thieves around, you see, and you should always be... the peculiar cat keeps blubbering on as you consider what to do with him. We have three options, and again you can write in the chat if you would like us to take specific one of these three. We can either take the thief to the city card, which is easy might check. We do not have any might dice available for us because we don't have any might skill marks, and none of our items help with taking. They help with convincing, sneaking, and unlocking. But it's easy, so we should be good with just getting a single success. Our thievery and survival skill max would help us somewhat achieving that single success. Then we can convince the thief to join us, and that's a medium communication check. For that we have 2 adjacent skill marks from perception, and our soft-soled shoes also help us in convincing. They're so pretty looking, and with them we would gain a single success. So basically we already have 1 success for that. And finally our option would be to let the thief go and leave, but I don't think we're going to leave. Just give a free pass for this cat for trying to steal our valuable money. So if you don't have any other suggestions, I think we might be inclined to trying to convince the thief to join us. And for that it's a medium communication check. So we get again both of our perception dice, and no thievery this time, so it's 3 base skill dice and 2 of those perception ones. And I can show this again, that software shoes give us a single success when we try to convince someone. So that's what we're right now doing, this one over here, so we gain 1 success. The text on the card says this fancy footwear made by slot artisans started as a niche luxury item for the nobility. Crafty minds, however, quickly found a more practical use for this soft, silent step. It also helps us in sneaking if we ever have a chance to do that. But for now, we are trying to convince the thief to join us. Well, that's an extremely lucky roll. That's 3 successes plus 1 from our soft-soled shoes, so we should not be greedy and try to reroll these, because we would have to first remove 1 die and then reroll everything, in which case we might get a single more, but it's highly unlikely that we got communication from all 4. So we should definitely stick with these. So it's 3 plus 1 from the shoes. So we're at 4 successes, and that should give us, looks like, the best possible outcome in this case. You lead the pickpocket on masterfully, impressing him with carefully calculated moves. After a minute, he's absolutely awed by you and pleading to join forces. I have an idea that makes both of us rich, and I'm very capable, he says. Give me a minute and I'll prove it. You let the thief go and watch closely as he sneaks up to a polecat passing by on the street. His hands move with impressive speed and grace as he reaches into the polecat's backpack and fishes out an item. See? He exclaims smugly, turning towards you with the prize in his hands. At that, the polecat turns around as well, looking at you two curiously before the realization sinks in. Hey, that's mine! He shouts, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. The thief pulls you to a nearest side street and introduces himself as Kesim as you make a quick getaway. And again, it has rules in turquoise box, so the story master would simply resolve those without consulting the player. So we're given card number 147. Here it's Kesim himself, the careless feline, a Manul, the clumsy master of stealth. He has an ability. Before each thiever skill check, we have to roll the 12-sided die. And if we roll 1, 2, or 3, we will negate all successes that we had. So he's tripping or something else. And with 4 up to 12, we gain 2 successes. So most of the time he should help us quite a lot. And he has also a scene available for us. If you choose to follow Kesim's master plan, we could do so in Arhin by taking the scene 115. And then finally here on the at the bottom, it's this symbol. This means that when we pack the game up, so place all the components back to the box, we will have to do everything that's listed here. So in this case, we would discard or place Kesim back to the library. But for now, we got a helping hand, as long as he's not tripping to some of. All right, the stream was down for a moment. I'm not sure why, but probably something to do with connection to YouTube or something, because my internet connection has no problems connecting to other sites. But well, here we go. Here we are again, and I hope the connection is more stable for the rest of the stream. So we were left with we just got Kesim to join us, and that was the card number 147. And then we are asked to take random 200 as well. And I'll take all the cards number 200. So I'll give them a little bit of a shuffle and take one from those and return the rest back. And the card that we got is Glasses, has tags Lens and Vision, and the text says that individuals benefit from eye gear with a slight magnification, especially those with poor sight. If nothing else, they can make you look smarter. So if we ever search or convince, we get some bonuses for those. And we have space in our inventory for a third item, so why not? Let's keep it. If we ever were given a fourth or even fifth item, we simply would have to discard one of our previous ones. We could use any immediate actions if they had anything like that before discarding. And with that, the scene is complete. So we'll move to the next day in the storybook as well as on the game board. So now we're on Sunday. And as said earlier, if you had multiple devices, you could use as many as you like with the storybook, as long as they're set in the same month and same day, and then it will sync up and you will get the same stuff no matter which device you use. So that was our first day. We got a friend. So there's a limit on how many items we can have. We can have 3 in our inventory. There's a limit if we had any quests. We can have 3 of those. And then lastly, there's no limits on any other cards. So we can have as many of these adventurer status cards as we wish, and as many companion cards as we wish. There's no limit on either of those, but 3 items and 3 quests. And then we have let's take a peek on what we have on the notice board. So these usually guide our play somewhat on what we might want to do in the game, depending on which we have available. So here we have on the first one could be picked from Jabbar, which is all the way over here. So not too far, but not too close either. So we could either walk from there or from Yetsten. And it says that someone with knowledge of property business needed. A pretty face is a plus. Signed by Resort Keribash. The second is also from Jabbar, an inquisitive but inconspicuous person needed, sawmill top log. And the final one could be picked from Arhin, which is over here, quite a bit closer to us. And it says that I came to Galzyr for a little vacation and would love me some company. Signed by Karimia. If there are any joining this stream or watching later that have watched any of our earlier 3 streams of the game, you Alright, I'm really sorry for the drops. Seems like there's some problems with the connection between me and YouTube. Not sure, but let's try to struggle through. So I was saying that if you're looking this as if you have watched our previous streams, there will be some of the same scenes. And that's for at least 3 reasons. One is that I want to show how different the same scenes will happen. So show that there's quite a bit of replay value. The second one is that I don't want to spoil too many of the different scenes for you. And thirdly, we don't have that many scenes fully complete. So I only wanted to show you stuff that we have which have had quite a lot of polish already. So there are quite a few reasons. So now we could go towards Jabbar to get some quests from there, or we could head towards Arhin to make some to pick up the quest from here. And well, it's a quick long journey to Jabbar, but we could also use our special ability to fly. We would get +4 movement, so it would be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We could fly all the way to Arhin in a single turn, but it would mean that we have to return any companions without flight tag to the inventory, and Kesim is a manual. And he obviously can't fly, so we would have to leave him behind. So well, why not? Let's move towards Arhin. We could also do Kesim's master plan over there if we choose. But I will reveal that we have not finished that scene yet, so we unfortunately can't take part in Kesim's master plan quite yet. But let's still move closer to Arhin and pick up the quest available over here. And after moving, now we can't take any of the scenes from the game board. We don't have any on our cards either, so we have to take an event from the event deck. And for this, there's some rules that I didn't explain earlier. So on any turn, during the story phase, the first thing we do is check if any of our cards or the cards on the board on our space have any mandatory actions. Mandatory actions always have this lightning bolt icon next to them, and if we have a mandatory scene, we just simply take that. We don't have any options. If we have multiple mandatory actions, then we can pick one of them. It's quite rare to have more than one of those at any given time. If we don't have a mandatory action, then the story master always draws an event card, even if we are in a settlement or wherever we might be, and they check for the mandatory condition on the event card's top row. And in this case, it says that if the adventurer is shocked, and if that would be true, then we would be forced to take this scene, and we would not be able to take a location scene or any quests or anything else we might want to. But then after they have checked that, they will either inform that you are forced to take the scene from the card, or they will inform that you are free to take anything you want. So, but for our demo, we'll skip this step on our future turns. But for now, we are here, and we would ask the story master to get us a scene from the event deck. And in that case, they would refer to the terrain types here. So right now we are on grasslands, which is this green icon here, and they would simply take us the scene number 58. After which we usually are told to put the event card on the bottom of the event deck. But I will also skip drawing the event cards and will just refer to a table of scenes that I have here off screen, and we'll take scenes from there, because we don't have that many events written out yet, so I will just consult my table and take a scene from here. So in this case we're at grasslands, and I will take a scene number 53. As you're traveling through the grasslands, you notice a strange figure approaching on the road. An animal of kind you've never seen before, pulling a small wagon. With a huge beak and strong legs, its appearance reminds you of stories of birds from times long gone. You then notice a smaller, hooded figure sitting on top of the wagon. It too has a beak sticking out from under the hood. A low voice greets you. "Nice to see another traveler around these parts." The mysterious figure then jumps off the wagon and bows respectfully. "You're looking for something, I know this," she says, gesturing you to approach the side of her wagon. "Whatever it is you're looking for, know whatever your heart desires can be found in my wagon. For the right price, of course." She grins. "See for yourself, my mobile curiosity corner." And we are asked if we have at least one item in our inventory, and well, that is true. We have actually 3. And let's click EX, and we are asked. Now we have a public question because it's not in that turquoise box. So we're asked, do we have a music tag? So our cards can have tags, our items, our adventure board, and our other cards as well. So what we do have is altitude, careless, feline, streetwise, flight, stealthy, footwear, fragile, burglary, lens, and vision. None of those are exactly music, so we'll simply click no. Now we have 4 options. We can either give a few coins, which is 5. We can give a bag of gold, which is 8. We have 9, so both of those options are available for us. We can give one of our possessions, or we can ignore her and continue our journey. I think we're definitely not ignoring her, because why would we? We can either give some coins or one of our possessions. If that refers to our items, I'm not sure if we do want to give up any of these. They're quite nice items. So why not? Let's give some gold, but I don't think we want to give all of our gold. We only have 9, so let's give her 5. So we're left with 4 after that. You reach into your purse and give the strange figure a few coins. A few, we gave her 5. The figure takes the coins and drops them in the pocket of her robe. "Thank you, now it is your time to choose," she says, gesturing you to get closer to her wagon. "Name the thing you desire the most." We can either ask for power, wisdom, or artifice. Tough choice. We might want some power. Well, if you don't argue with me, I'll go and pick power. The figure nods and starts rummaging through her wares. "Yes, oh yes, I've got just the thing," She then hands you something. I'm sure this is exactly what a mighty warrior like you would wish for. We are given card number 19. Or if it's unavailable, we would get a random 100. But 19 is available, so we will get that one. And it's a 3-barrel pistol worth 7. Tuatara pirates were rumored to use multi-barreled firearms. What these lack in accuracy is gained with multiple rounds without reloading. It has some bonus effects if we fight, or if we unlock or intimidate. Well, if we choose to keep this, well, why wouldn't we? It's a pretty nice looking 3-barrel pistol. We do have to get rid of one of our items, and well, why not? I'll just throw away our lockpicks, simply because they're unlocking and the gun is unlocking as well, but in addition it's also fighting and intimidating. But of course what we do lose is this extremely good unlocking ability, which would gain us 3 successes with the lockpicks. But if we would roll the 12-sided and 1, 2, 3, we would have to discard this, so they would break. But they're extremely good at unlocking. But for now, let's return that to the library. And that's the end of this scene. We'll move to Monday on both the book and the game board. And then, well, we do arrive to Arhin, where we can pick up a quest. And it's this one over here. It says, I came to Galzyr for a little vacation and would love me some company. Signed by Karimia. Karimia's vacation. Go figure. My first stop is at Hesembi. There's a famous theater which I would love to visit. Would you mind escorting me there? We are asked to take card number 148 from the library, which is Karimia themselves, a Gila monster, both venomous and adorable. Karimia's more at home in the busy streets than in the scary solitary trails of the wilderness. Affectionate to a fault, he's always eager to meet and befriend new folks. And as long as he's with us, we gain 2 successes in any communication skill checks. And after 3 days, we are asked to resolve scene number 47. So let's make a little more room over here. Place him here and take some timer tokens. For example, the slot ones, why not? And 3 days from here, 1, 2, 3. And this goes over here as a reminder. And then on the quest card, we have something more. We are, if we move farther away from Hesembi or lose Karimia, the card 148 for any reason, we are forced to abandon this quest. And whenever you are also free to abandon quest on your turn at any time for any reason. And if you do so, you do whatever is listed here, besides these sad ocelots on the bottom. And in this case, it asks us to place this card and on the notice board and return Karimia to the library. And then we have a scene available if we are at Hesembi, scene 48. Arrive to Hesembi. So now we have 1 quest card with us. These are both for the Jabbar. I'll move them down here so I'll have more room for stuff. Well, I don't actually need. Let's do that. All right, and then we arrive to Arhin, and we are asked to take a single scene. We could also take a scene from the event deck, and if we are at the settlement, which is signified by this icon here. There's also a pier and then the terrain itself. But if we are at a settlement, then the event is always the top event here, which is for the settlement. Or in this case, you would have to take this mandatory scene for Arhin if we were playing correctly, which we are not. We are just demoing and ignoring the events unless we don't want to ignore them. But now we would be asked to, for example, visit one of these. So why not? We can visit either market, Great Library, or docks, and I'll just go ahead and pick the Great Library for us. That should have pretty much something for us. Let's see. Just looking ahead a little bit. Yep, let's go and visit the Great Library. Scene number 19. The monumental library is as impressive inside as it is on the outside. Several halls in several stories of the palace-like structure are filled with more books than you can shake a stick at. Rows upon rows of shelves are stacked with modern and ancient knowledge and culture. Beyond that, a few scholars going about their business, the library relatively empty at the moment. Perfect place for some silent study. And we can study philosophy, history, or read literature. I'm not sure which kind of things Ausala would be interested in this case. Maybe not philosophy, possibly history. Let's go with history. What better way to make use of the knowledge collected here than to learn more about the land you're adventuring? You pore over book after book about Galzyr's eventful history, its notorious inhabitants, past conflicts, and much more. Who knew that one of Hesenbi's ruling families was chosen by a trading competition? You make extensive notes about your findings, which could come handy in your adventures. Alright, we got a chance to swap one of our skill marks for knowledge skill mark. Currently we are sitting at 2 perception, 1 thiever and 1 survival, and we now could swap 1 for knowledge. And I'll say let's do it. Maybe we don't want to be so sneaky, so let's take our only thiever mark away. We're honest guys here. Swap it out for knowledge. All right, and then we may return status 53 to the library if we had, but we only have 1 status and it's number 0, so that does nothing for us right now. And we got 57. So here we got energetic. So full of energy that you find it hard to stay still. We may discard this to gain +1 movement, and if we are exhausted, we must discard this to return the exhausted status to the library. And in addition, if we are running, we may discard to gain 2 successes. And there's no limit to the statuses, number of statuses that we might collect. Alright, that was the end of scene. Move to Tuesday here and on the game board. And running out of space. Let's see what I can do. Let's move those dice like here and those companions, and then we have room for that. So if we really wanted, we could use both of these to get +5 movement. But if we fly, we do lose our companions. With energetic, we can maybe make them run with us, but with that we can move 1 additional space. Now I think we would like to resolve, at least start moving towards Hesembi to resolve Karimia's vacation. And yep, I think we're just going to cheat just a tiny bit and move all the way to Hesembi, so I can showcase you some quests as well, as we don't have time to play quite a full game. So I want to showcase multiple different things that you can do in the game, and well, I'll do it like this. And to pay for cheating, we can say that we use the energetic to run a little more. So let's get rid of that. So we're not cheating quite as much, even though we're cheating quite a lot. At Hesembi, now we can take the Karimia's vacation, scene number 48, named Arrived to Hesembi. We should take a left here to watch the theater, says Karimia, clearly excited about being in Hesembi. A few minutes later you meet a quokka and a honey badger in front of the theater, both merchants from Sarevar. They too would like to see the play, but inform you that it's been sold out and that they're not letting any more folks inside. It's an affront, I tell you, a disgrace, exclaims the quokka. I'm seriously considering making a formal complaint to ruling family. Just you wait. Karimia tries to calm the pair down, assuring them that you, his capable adventurer friend, can figure something out. Meanwhile, we three can talk about a couple of business dealings I wanted to propose you. I think of it as a payment for the service my friend here is about to deliver. The two merchants look at each other, shrug, and accept. Don't see the harm in it, as long as we see the play, says the honey badger. We have 2 options. We can either talk with the ticket vendor, or we can try to sneak past the queue and steal their tickets. And it's medium skill check, and it could go really well. We have boots, which helps us sneaking. With that, we could reroll up to 1 die and convert up to 2 thievery into 2 successes each. So we essentially we could double those. And in addition to that, we have Kesim, which is not optional because it simply says that before each skill check we must roll, before each thievery skill check. And if we roll 1, 2, or 3, we get nothing. We get 0 successes. I might be tempted to not try our fate here and maybe even go to talk to the ticket vendor. Let's start with that, so Kesim doesn't ruin our plans immediately. The note at the ticket booth tells you that there actually are some seats that are not yet taken, but they're on the balconies and reserved for invited guests and the sort. Very important folks only, I'm afraid, he says. You see that people are entering the theater. You're running out of time. You'll need to improvise if you and your group hope to catch the play. 3 options. We can either convince the vendor of our party's importance, which is hard communication skill check, but Karimia does give us 2 successes in all communication skill checks, so we would actually need only 1 to get the minimum of 3 for the heart. We can then try to intimidate the vendor by making a scene, and glasses would help us in convincing, and the 3-barrel pistol would help us in intimidating. Both are 1 success each for their respective things. And actually the boots can help us convince as well, so I think we're definitely going to convince. And the third option would be bribe the vendor, but that would cost 3 money, and we only have 4 left, so I'd say that we're trying to convince. We have a nice pair of glasses and really fancy shoes, so he should really see how important we are. We have these and 1 knowledge mark that we got from the library. So these are our dice used for communication. And that's no successes at all. We have a single reroll, so I see no harm in using that reroll here. Well, we got 2, so we have quite plenty of successes. So 2 from the dice. Here 2 from Karimia, and then from our items, the glasses give us 1 success when we convince, and the shoes give us 1 success when we convince as well. Let's reorder them so it makes more sense. So we're sitting at what, 2 from the dice, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. That should be enough, I think. Well, it's barely enough for the best outcome at least, but let's see. You and Karimia convince the vendor of the prestige your group commands, and denying your entrance is downright scandalous. The Newt looks embarrassed and begs you to not tell his manager about this. Karimia pays the vendor and then personally escorts your group to your seats. Very impressive, says the Quokka. Do we have a praise tag? Well, no we do not, unfortunately. The 4 of you have a great time. As you're exiting the theater, the 2 merchants keep praising Karimia for getting them in to see the show, and that they'd like to do business with him as soon as he's done with his vacation. You see that Karimia enjoys the attention, but is trying to look modest. Well, actually we did all the hard work, but well, Karimia did do his part as well. You see that Karimia he then bids the Quokka and the honey and the badger farewell and looks to you. What an excellent start for vacation. Are you ready for awaits us next, friend? Alright, we got 2 prestige, so we'll move up over here. And we are asked to return quest 86 to the library. Let's do that. And then we get 112 from the library. And I can't take that because I haven't printed it out yet, but it would be the second. Well, actually I can. I remembered incorrectly. I can actually take it. Yep, here it is. Card number 112. Continuation for Karimia's vacation. The new exhibition center named appropriately Halls of Wonder were opened recently. I must see them with my own eyes. Let us make Rienstum our next destination. And again we are asked to take 148 from the library. Well, we already have Karimia with us. And now this time if we move further away from Rienstum or lose Karimia for any reason, we are abandoning this. And our next stop, if we were to help Karimia more, would be at Rienstum. And that's the end of that scene. Moving to Wednesday and on the game board as well. And that was my mistake, moving the wrong direction, so moving here to Wednesday. And I think we have still time for 1 or 2 more scenes. And let's see what I would like to show you next. Maybe some more events. So traveling somewhere, and let's say that we would be going towards Rienstorm if we were to help Karmia a little bit more. So we would probably want to move over here, and then ask the story master again to take us a scene from the event deck, and I'll see the list, and we'll take the scene number 65. As you traverse the relaxing hillside slopes with their gentle breezes and rolling greens, you notice next to the road an exhausted red panda, lying next to a hole in the ground and waving shovel in frustration. "I've been digging for hours," pants the red panda, introducing herself as Chaiwai. She leads your gaze down to the old rusty chest half buried at the bottom of the hole. "It's exactly where the treasure map said it would be, but I didn't expect it to be locked." Chaiwai rubs her whiskers nervously. "If you help me open it, I'll share what is inside it with you. I just don't want my afternoon to have gone to waste. Oh, and do be careful, the contents are probably fragile." We can try to unlock the chest. Medium thievery. Well, we got rid of our thievery skill mark, but we still have these 2 perception skill marks, and our 3-barrel pistol does give us single success if we try to unlock. We can try to invent another way to open the chest. We do have our knowledge skill mark for that and survival, but no items we'd have currently help us in inventing, or we can continue our journey. So I think unlocking the chest would be the easiest option for us to take right now. So let's do exactly that, and we'll remove that and get 2 basic dice more. So these are what we can do use when we try to unlock stuff. And 3-barrel pistol will give us a single success. Oh, I almost forget. We still have Kesim with us, and before each thiever skill check we will roll the 12-sided die. So let's see how much Kesim helps or hinders us first. That's 5. That's more than 3. So Kesim actually gives us 2 successes to begin with. His master unlocking thief, I see. And that's no successes at all. So let's reroll. And that's 2 and 2 from Kesim. That's 4 and 1 from the pistol as we are shooting the lock. We get 5 successes. If the lock doesn't open with that, it's not going to open at all. And well, 5 is exactly what we need for the maximum best outcome. The old lock proves no match for your masterful skills. Chaiwai gasps with glee as she runs her paths along the relics and dusty gadgets within the chest, her face beaming with joy. She rubs her paws at her good fortune before handing you one of the items as you share the bounty. "You know," she continues thoughtfully, "this isn't the only treasure hidden in Galzyr. You seem like an expert treasure hunter. To repay your help, here's a hint as to where you might be able to find another one, just for you." We get first we get card number 43. Let's see. Here's card 43. Quite a lot of placeholder stuff here, but it's a rare artifact worth 12. And if we convince, we may discard this to gain 3 successes. And our shoes help us convincing, and glasses help us convincing as well. So probably want to get rid of one of those if we want to keep the rare artifact. So let's say that I'll get rid of glasses and return them to the box. And then we would get a random 48 from the library. And that I can't do as those are not printed, but it would be essentially a tip that Chaiwai was talking about the hidden treasure. So it would be a hint for us. It would be a quest where we try to find a hidden treasure, but I can't show it to you right now. But that would be end of this scene, and then we move forward here and forward here. And now we're met with the slot token, timer token, and it's here with Karimia, and it would show that we have to take the scene number 47. But this is again an example of a scene that it's not quite finished yet, so unfortunately I can't show it to you right now. You just have to imagine something exciting happening with Karimia over here. And well, let's take one more scene, and I think that would be good place to explain the rest of what happens when you clean up the game, and wish you all a happy rest of your Sunday. But let's take one more scene. Let's look at my list. What would be nice to do? Well, let's fly through and move all the way to Jabbar and pick up this quest. So let's go Jabbar, imagining a few days going by, and we are at Jabbar and we are picking up this quest. An inquisitive but insuspicious person needed. Signed by Sawmill Toplog. And it's a quest named Smoldering Wood. A lynx named Hilemoth tried to set my main warehouse on fire. He failed and is now in prison. I suspect he was hired by Jaunka, the previous co-owner of my sawmill. Find me the evidence for this. Cards are not interesting to help me. Signed by Roland, the owner of Toplog. And now if we are at Yetsten, we might investigate Jaunka's firm. And I think that we did move further away from Brainstorm while we flew through the Galzyr and moved to Jabbar, so I think we have to abandon the quest, the Karimia's vacation, back to the notice board, and it will also return Karimia back to the library. Maybe someone else can help him finish up his vacation. We are now trying to complete the Smoldering Wood quest from Robun. And well, one more component that I forgot to show yet in this stream is what we call a travel guide. So the game will come with one of these. It's like an in-game item that the adventurers have in their possession, or at least they could have. It's an, as I said, travel guide to the land of adventure and excitement. It has, of course, the introduction of the author of the guide, a duck named Okagoban, and then it has the map of Galzyr and short descriptions of each of the places on the map. So you can either during the game or before, whenever you really want to, you can read through and have some idea of what the different places are even before visiting them the first time. So I think I'll want to share the Hesembi description in this stream. It's the place over here on the southeast corner of the board. And it's the place where we visited the theater with Karimia. Hesembi began as a small mining settlement, but has since blossomed into a vibrant city-state and an important commercial hub. A walk through its famous floating market resembles a journey around the world, bringing together an extraordinary selection of luxuries and delicacies from all over the world. Hesembi's cultural life has been booming as well, theater especially. Brilliant plays can be found daily in the city's many theaters. So that was Hesembi's description written by Okagoban. And now to move a bit forward again in time, let's move directly to Yetsten, and then we can resolve this, end the stream by resolving the scene from Smoldering Wood. So now we move all the way to Yetsten and take the scene 143 and investigate Janka's firm. Following your only lead, you make your way to alluring shrubs and herbs, Janka's company. It's a fairly small building located some way off the city center and, as one might have guessed, seems to deal in spices and various flavors of ornamental plants. Wondering if you should just slip in and look around, you peek inside the front lobby. It seems quite busy. There's an aardvark clerk behind a counter, a number of customers, and a couple of workers hurriedly carrying boxes to and from a door to the side. Surely enough, a placard on the door says that they're hiring. Perhaps that's your way in. We can either try to get a job, or we can sneak inside the building. Sneaking inside is a medium thievery, and again, we have not left Kesim from our side, so he would help us no matter what we think of him, or hinder our progress. Not really sure, depending on the die roll. Or we could try to get a job. Our boots also help with sneaking. So on one of the earlier streams, we also played the same scene and we took the sneaking option. So I think we'll now try to get a job, just to give you more ideas of what different things can happen in a single scene if you choose to watch multiple of these streams. You march in and tell the clerk that you are here for the job offer. He sizes you up curiously before leading you through a curtained door behind the desk. Inside you find a lynx sitting behind a large wooden desk amidst rows of plants and boxes. She gestures you to sit and introduces herself as Janka before shooing the lingering clerk back to work. From the nosy look on his face, you're sure that he'll be listening behind the curtain. Business has been blooming lately, Janka says after a while, gesturing at her cramped office. She looks at you appraisingly before continuing. I mean, I might indeed have work for you. Happen to have any skills or prior experience in our field? Do we have a training tag? Unfortunately, no. 3 options. We can either demonstrate our cultivating skills, which is easy survival check. Should be manageable. We can recall business skills, should be manageable as well. Or we can convince her that we are just a nice person overall. Medium convince check, but our boots would give us a single success, and if things go south, we could also give her our artifact to really convince her that we're extremely nice person, just handing out relics left and right. So why not? Let's try to convince her that we are really a nice person to work with. And we also, I'm not sure if there's the best pool of dice, but it's certainly good. So these ones help us in communication. And well, that's no successes at all, so let's remove one die and try again. Well, that's one. And with our boots, they give us one more. Here, convincing gives us one. So we're now sitting at 2, which is the minimum amount for the success. But well, we don't know when we get again our 4th item. So well, let's go ahead and just give Jauhanka our rare artifact, providing us with 3 additional successes. Should be really shouldn't be a problem getting a job after bribing ourselves in. So now we're sitting at 5 successes, which gives us the best possible outcome. Listening to yourself speak, you can't help but be swayed by the supremely personable and capable character you portray. Are you actually like that, or is it all an act? Nevertheless, Janka looks equally smitten and soon nearly begs for you to work for her, saying that you're exactly what her company needs. She even pays you some upfront if you'd be so kind as to start right away. Of course, we're starting right away. Well, we gain 3 gold, an advancement from our hopefully large payment. So we are now sitting at 7 gold. Despite the rush, Janka's company seems a pretty nice place to work at, almost enough to distract you from your objective. Or well, we actually were here to complete our quest. But you bide your time and plan how to proceed. You could try to get information out of the friendly workers or confront Janka directly, if only you could make sure the other wasn't listening. After a while, you get your chance as Janka leaves her office for lunch. Now it is the time to find out what she's hiding. We can chat with workers about Janka. And again, it's a medium skill check, so not easy. With our dice, we can intimidate Janka to confess. Even harder, but we do have our firearm ready, which would give us a single success in intimidating. Or we can search the office, which is a easy perception skill check. But it's a rust, so we couldn't use items. Our items don't help us in search anyway, so wouldn't be a problem. And we have really nice dice. So I'd say that we want to search Janka's office. So let's see what dice we get. Not those, but these. And we just roll them, no rerolls, and see what happens. And Kesim does not help us with perception, only with thievery. And that's 2 successes. I think this is communication. Yep, 2 should be enough for easy skill check. Doesn't give us the best possible outcome, but a good outcome nonetheless. Slipping inside the empty office, you rummage through Janka's drawers. Knowing that someone could come in at any moment, you ignore all the warrior's business reports and dig deeper. In one drawer, you find a notebook, suspiciously hidden under a stack of documents. Your investigation is interrupted by a voice coming from the lobby. Someone behind the curtain mentioning getting something from the office. Hurriedly, you grab the notebook and a stack of documents and rush out past the stunned artwork. You are out of the building before the curtain stops swinging. Investigating your hole at a safe distance, you find a curious note in the notebook. Hilemo failed. Send someone else to Jabbar to finish the job? ? Followed by a list of names all crossed out. Gain 1 prestige and 2 gold. 1 prestige, we're at 3, and 2 gold, so we're up to 9 gold. And then we return the quest 261, which is this smoldering wood. Return that one and take 262, which this time is actually not printed yet. So that would be a continuation of this quest to see what happens next. And that's the effects of this scene. we would move to Friday, both in the storybook and on the game board's calendar. And we would continue playing until the day token reaches this timer token here, which has a matching pair here on Stronger Together card, which would end the game. We would take the scene 200, which would grade our success based on how much prestige we managed to gather. Then we would take all the cards from the game board. Well, let's say before that we go through all the different save effects. So our game board here has our adventure board would ask us to take the card number 0 from the library, and whenever it has this icon and the face inside the card, it's our own special card with that number. So we would match the card's icon with actually with this one. So we would take AwSHUX number 0, which is here you can see it's our number 0 is our own special card. So we can use this once per game, and then the adventure board reminds us to get it back. Kesim would simply go back to the library during teardown. And what else do we have? We have a save effect here on the month card. So June would be replaced with a global status 7 from the library, which you might question what happens after June. Yep, it's July, and it would have some effects in it as well. But we would replace this one, return Kesim to library where he belongs on 147, and take 0. But in this demo we didn't manage to use AwSHUX ability because we didn't want to get rid of our lovely companions. So, and after doing those, we could either play again, or if we want to pack the game away, we take all our own cards, place them behind our own save slot. So AwSHUX save slot over here. We gather all the cards from here, all the global status cards, all quest cards from the table and from the game board, and place those here behind the global save slot. And then the adventure board stays as it is. These stay firmly in place, and the gold spinner is stiff enough that it will remember how much gold you had and which skill marks you had. So you could then continue where you left off in the next game. And it doesn't matter if not all the adventures are in each of the games. So you might play one game with Kerira and more, and then with these 3, then with everyone, then a solo game with Boomir. It wouldn't matter. You could continue with any adventures, and there's also rules in the rulebook which instruct you on how to reset a single adventure if you want to. Usually it would be the case if some player would have played many games with Boomir, for example, and then they would, let's say, move away or lost the interest in the game, and some other player would like to play as Boomir. You might want to, in that case, reset the character, because there are different events shuffled in the event deck, different quests, and Boomir would have different items and things of that sort that could come back to haunt you, and it would feel quite weird that why I'm the target of this angry NPC, for example. I have not done nothing to annoy him, but well, you didn't, but Boomir did. So that might be a good spot to reset a certain character. But it's designed to in a way that you can play as long as you want, as many games as you want, and you will all, for the most part, you would always see new stuff for quite many games. We hope to, our aim is to launch the Kickstarter for Lands of Galzyr next year during summer. So I hope you look forward to that, and I thank you for watching. And if you want to learn more about the game, I have streamed the game for 3 times in addition to this one on previous days, and you can find those from our YouTube channel where you're currently watching this, and you can also find more information from our homepage. And you might want to join our friendly Discord server where I share some development photos and insight on various games that we are producing. And you can play with play and chat with other members from our community. And finally, as a plugin, we also have a newsletter that you might want to consider if you want to get reminded of when Lands of Galzyr goes to Kickstarter. I thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the stream, and hope you the best. And yep, well, that's pretty much everything. So thank you, and have a good night and good evening and good day and good year and everything. Bye.